Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. How are you this morning? Hope you're doing grand. Good morning, good morning. Good morning to you. A little, the First Congregational Church, Fall River mug. Highly desired, rarely replicated. Hope you're enjoying your day this morning, that there's goodness in it. How are you today? Hello, friends. Good morning. Hey, Vicky, good morning to you. Wow, that's understandable. I hope you have a great trip. Hope there's all kinds of goodness in it for you. Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. All right. All right. Good morning, friends. Okay, let's get going this morning. It is the 19th day of March at this 11:11, and I'm glad you're a part of the journey that we find ourselves on, because this weekend. Today is the 19th, tomorrow is the 20th, and this harkens the sixth year. We are going into our seventh year of the journey of 11:11. That this gathering place, this little digital hangout that maybe you've been a part of since the beginning, or maybe you're just discovering today, whenever and wherever it is. It began this weekend, these next few days, as a result of the COVID lockdowns that happened 6 years ago. And in that, we as the church, or well, me, was trying to figure out how to stay connected, how that we might hold together the ties that bind with each other. And as we were off of the platform, we spent 11 weeks off of our away from the church building, in this environment. It seems like a long time ago, and yet just yesterday in a lot of ways. And so to this weekend, these next few days are the sixth anniversary of the first time I fired up this live stream at 11 minutes past the 11 hour in the morning, and we began to hang out together. This journey for some of us has been long and arduous. When it began, it was because it was this attempt to invite all of us into connectivity, as we were not gathering in person. That I we fired up the live stream every day at 11:11, or at our 10 a.m. worship hour, depending on which day it was. If it was Sunday, it was 10 a.m. But we fired it up at 11:11 every day for about 80 plus days. That time that we were away from the building, we gathered here in this little digital space, and we've been doing so. And then from there we've gone down to 3 days a week, for now this past 6 years. It is quite a journey. It is quite a legacy. Many of you that I see coming in this morning. Hey, Karen, good morning. It is amazing. I know. And Vicky stood up at our annual meeting, and said, or our Massachusetts Association meeting, and said some lovely things about the 11:11 journey that it's been a part of. Good morning, Yvette. Jamie, you're contending with some snow up there. Oh, God love you. That in all of this journeying, in all of this time together, I've been reflecting this week a little bit about what it is, and I just want to share a little bit with you. I certainly my desire was never to, be a part of a online anything. This platform, this journey together is kind of antithetical to my being. I want to be with people, and I want to see your face, and I want to kind of be in heart connection with each other, where we might share some of the same air, and our hearts might beat together a little bit. That we might all those things that happen when people come in contact. That is the good and the beautiful things of human community. And this feels like such a pale comparison, but when we had nothing, it was not so bad. And in it, we have built something lovely. There are connections made here that we would make and have in no other ways. And so and every time I have thought of maybe it's time to sunset, maybe it's time to set this down. The Lord has been very explicit in giving me feedback that that is not the case. That this little digital journey is to and should continue. And so continue we do. But one of my concerns in this whole thing, it comes from, it was highlighted, I think, in the book of James. James is such a, boy, you want a corrective on your day, go read the book of James. Like James will set you straight. Like he's got this way of we're going to contend with hard things now. That's kind of his whole journey. And so in the first chapter, this is right out of the gate, 22nd verse, he says, "Do not merely listen to the word." This is what James, brother Jesus, he says, "Do not merely listen to the word, and so deceive yourselves, but do what it says." That Bible, at the end of the day, is to help us be in relationship with Jesus, and that relationship is an action. That relationship is a way of living. It is a way of living that is countercultural to the world in which we find ourselves often, but it is a way of moving through the world. That's what made the early Christians different from the pagan world that surround them. That's what hopefully makes us different from the other people that we encounter. That we should live in a different way. No, not radically different. We don't have to, wear white and hand out daisies at the airport. That's not it. But one of my great fears, one of my great worries, one of my great detestations of this possible journey has been this idea that I'm just over here flapping my gums. I'm just over here, talking into the void, and maybe people are listening, maybe they're not. But beyond that, that we can get deceived that we're actually doing something worthwhile, that we're actually, that we are not in the sense of doing what the word says. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm not saying that this platform and this little digital community we've created has not brought encouragement, has not brought prayer, has not brought love to the world. It has. I've seen you all that are connected reach out and care for each other and love each other in this ways. If any of that got connected through this continued journey, praise God, and it's awesome. And one of my great concerns is this, that if you look at like the things that people really talk about when they talk about people of faith, or they talk about Christians, or they talk about church, it is this difference, it is this delta, it is this this wrestling that we see in our culture between the real, like how are they really, like what are they really like? What's the preacher really like? What's the person really like? What is their true character versus their holy persona? Like by and large, whatever you get a little bit of me I endeavor to be as authentic as I can in this platform. I endeavor to tell you the way that I see it and best I can, and not to be divisive or not to, I'm not going to talk about things just to stir things up, but that God may be glorified in them, that we may be encouraged in them together. But one of my great concerns is always like, how do, because that's such a great, it's such a great critique now of the church that, I'm just a I'm just a dude out here with my stained glass voice on, telling you stained glass things to behave in a particular way that I don't even try to endeavor to. That the great word that always gets thrown around is the hypocrisy of the church, whatever that means. Find me somebody that's not a hypocrite. Like, that's kind of my thing. We're all like hypocrisy is not a quality of the church. Hypocrisy is a quality of being human. And that doesn't even make us bad people. It just makes us people because of the fact that our inner self is radically different than our outer self, even when we're trying to be as authentic as we can. Even when we're trying to be as authentic as we can. I came in today. We had our United Way board meeting early this morning, and I came in. I'm sleepy. I was here late last night. I came in, and somebody made a comment, and that as I was parking the car, and I made a flip comment back, and I'm one of those guys that will go back and review comments that I make to people. Yeah, it's like a superpower. It's horrible. I hope you don't have that. But I just thought about. I made this flip comment, and I realized, like, that was neither good nor charitable. Like that I didn't, and it caught me in a bad moment. Like, whatever, it's that he's a good guy. We're great. We're friends. We're serving the board together. It's not going to break a relationship or anything. It wasn't horrible. I wasn't commenting on whether it's, his wife was pretty. It wasn't weird. Like, nothing bad happened. But it's just one of those moments where you're like, what I would hope to bring from my inner self, what I would hope to bring some true and good and beauty to the moment, like, didn't happen. And it happens all the time. That doesn't make me a hypocrite. That just makes me human. But yet we could, like, quite easily, the ways in which all of the critiques that our holy persona gets put up versus our real self. And then you throw on top of that the idea of, here we are on the interwebs, and what we could be doing is chasing engagement. That's what we should be doing. Like, holy moly, I haven't even entered that world. So I'm just rambling today because it is this 6-year moment, and it is this 6 year, and I wanted to just share a little bit of inside baseball with you all. I don't know if any of this is edifying or helpful at all today, but I've been thinking about these words from James. Again, you want to get your apples thrown out of your cart. Go read some James, where he said, that do not merely listen to the word, and so deceive yourselves, but do what it says. And it's my genuine heart's desire that 6 years ago when we started this, it was an attempt, and it continues to be an attempt every day I crank this thing up, to do what it says. Not because I'm some dude over here flapping my gums, far away from you and inconveniencing some electrons along the way so that you get to hear my voice and see my face, but that you might remember that you're not alone. You might remember that there's a greater and more beautiful connection, not just through me and not just through this little community even, but to the one who made you. And that love is impossible to shake. That even though we can feel isolated and we can feel alone and we can feel separate and we can feel like that, nobody does mean what they say. Nobody really does care, maybe in the way in which we think they should. That we'll all kind of get out of the car and say gorky things. That in all of it, though, there is a truth and a goodness and a beauty that is beyond it, and that it comes to us through Christ Jesus. And that reminding you of that maybe 3 days a week is not just an endeavor of my own ego or my own desire to put it out there because, gosh, that's not it. Or even the chasing clicks and engagement because, well, we haven't really waded into that world either, have we? or even kind of the cultivating a holy persona so that you might think I'm a good pastor or a good guy or like you might like me or what, all those things that we can get snarled up in. And I'm not saying any of those aren't on board, because they're impossible to, they are impossible little creatures to shake. They stand at the ready, well, ready to jump in anytime we let them. But at the end of the day, the hope of this platform, the hope of this 1111 was that we might not merely hear what's the right thing to do. We might not merely listen to the word, but we might do what it says. And that my hope is that in our continued engagement, our continued love for each other, that really has been generated over this little tiny platform, and our genuine desire to stay connected to each other and to the one that made us, might actually be us doing what it says. So that's my hope for you, friends. And that is this anniversary edition, on this sixth anniversary, as we step this weekend into the seventh year of, gosh, I don't know, am I anything for 7 years? Like that, the seventh year of our 1111 journey. I hope it's been rich for you. I hope it's been great. I hope that, you know, that I will have one ask, that if there's a favorite out there over the years, if there's one that is, all of these are up on the YouTube site, so you can go to the YouTube channel and find them all. If there's one that has touched you over the years that you found compelling, I invite you to throw it in the throw it in a message, and I would love to know what messages, what ideas, what things have been compelling to you over the years and been an encouragement. And I hope it has been an encouragement, so that we might, again, not merely listen to what the word says, but we might do it, and do it together. Peace and grace to you all, my friends, and we'll pick it up next week with another 1111.